Hi everyone, I want to show you an incredible resource called Flux Loras the Explorer. If you've ever wanted to generate images using Flux Loras, you can do that right now and online. So there's an entire library over here of Loras. So I want you to think of a Lora as an expansion pack. It's the way to generate an image in a specific style. In this case, there's a Lora over here called block print style. When I select that and type in a prompt and then click on generate, it's now going to adhere to the prompt but generate an image in that style. So Loras are extremely powerful, and let me show you how to use this. First of all, major props to multimodal art for creating this Hugging Face space. So check the link in the description, it will bring you over to this page. If you don't have a Hugging Face account, create one and sign in. Now I do want to mention this is not unlimited. You can generate about 6 images for free before it puts you on a cooldown timer, but you can set up billing and pay for the service to continue using it. So this is just a great way to test what's capable with Flux Loras. And remember guys, AI uses hardware. You cannot expect everything to be free and unlimited forever. That's unrealistic unless you're utilizing your own hardware. Anyway, let me show you how to set this up, and let's generate an image using a Flux Lora. So without adjusting any settings, I'm actually going to select one of these Loras. So I'll select the Polaroid style. So when I left click to select that, it will actually show me which Lora is selected. Now I can type in a prompt. So I'll say Spider-Man eating a slice of pizza in New York City. And then once you're ready, click on generate. So just be patient. If you start seeing something like this that looks like jumbled noise, that's exactly what it is. It's actually generating an image from the noise, and you'll actually see that happening in real time. And then once this is done, you'll have an image that's generated using whatever Lora you selected that adheres to the prompt. So the image is generated at this point. Now I think Spider-Man is going to have a bit of a hard time eating pizza with his mask still on, but you can see this adheres to the Polaroid style. And it uses Flux for good image quality and prompt adherence, although there is a little bit of a problem over here with the hand blending into the suit. But still, this is how Loras work. You choose a style, you put in a prompt, and you get an image in that style. So you're not just limited to the Loras in this Lora gallery. Here at the bottom you can see it says custom Lora, and if I click on this link that says check the list of Flux Loras, it's going to direct me to another page, and you actually have access to 6,249 Loras, and this number is always increasing because people are always training Loras. But what's awesome about this is that you can search for a particular style. In this case I'm going to search for anime. And you can see over here now there's obviously a lot of Loras with a lot of people that are trying to train Loras on the anime style. I'm just going to select this one right over here at the top, so I can left click to bring that up. And now this Lora is basically going to show me what type of output it's capable of giving me. So if I want to use this Lora, I just click on this icon over here because I want to copy all of this text. So it's the author plus the name of the Lora. So I'll click on copied. Now if I go back to Flux Loras the Explorer, I just need to right click and paste it over here. Right, and I know this is going to work because it says over here it loaded a custom Lora. Now very important, pay attention to any text that you see included with this Lora, because in this case this Lora actually uses a trigger word. So a trigger word is a way for the Lora to actually activate, and in this case it automatically inserted the trigger word into my prompt. So you basically just need this word included with your prompt. So I'll type in something like a woman in a black dress holding a cat, and I'll just put comma and make sure the trigger word is included. And now when I click on generate, it's going to generate an image in the style of this Lora. So now as you can see, it adhered to the prompt and it used this Lora to give me this style. And you can see just how powerful Loras are. And now one more tip. So I'm going to click on this link again to go to the repository. Now I'm going to go to this 90s anime art. So with some of the authors, they'll actually include the prompt. So if you want to generate an image that's similar, then you can actually use the prompt that's included over here. You'd literally just click on this icon to copy it, and you can go back here and you can paste it in the prompt section. So that's a good way because it gives you insight into how the image was constructed in that particular style using that Lora. Now let's also talk about the advanced settings. So by default it's been generating a square image, so 1024 by 1024. If I click on this drop down arrow and I scroll down over here, I can actually control the width and the height, but keep in mind the max value for both the width and the height is 1536. So if you want to change the values for the images that get generated, then this is how you control the ratio. So another really cool feature over here is this input image. So if I've got an image that I've generated, I can drag and drop it over here to upload it. And what this is going to allow me to do is the image that gets uploaded, there we go, I can basically apply a Lora and generate a new image while using this as reference. So the new image that gets generated is going to respect the overall composition and in most cases even the pose, but it's going to apply that Lora style to that new image. Now something I'll recommend immediately, you can see that this is not a square image, but at the bottom my width and my height are 1024 by 1024, which means that it is going to generate an image that is square, but I'm going to get a result like this, which is strange. Now you can see obviously it's retaining the composition and the pose and even the style of this garment, but this image has been squished down into a square format and that's not what I want. So I want to make sure I'm matching this image's dimensions. Right, in my case, the dimensions of this image is 896 by 1152. I want to input these values here. All right, and now when I actually generate an image with the correct dimensions, I'll get something like this because now it matches this image's dimensions. And you can see I've got the style of this Lora, which is the JoJo Lora, that's been applied onto this image while referencing the garment, the pose, and the composition. So just make sure the ratio over here matches the image you upload. Now I also want to describe what's in my image. In this case I have a female wearing a black jacket and sunglasses. So in the prompt I want to make sure I type in a woman wearing a black jacket and sunglasses. Right, and then I want to go ahead and select this JoJo style because that's the Lora I'll be using for this image. Now before I click on generate, there are some other additional sliders here that I just want to talk about. So you can see we've got denoise strength, we've got CFG scale, steps, and then Lora scale, and we've also got seed. Now these values that are applied on here already by default should work straight out of the gate and work pretty well. But I do want to explain the denoising strength because it's probably the most important one over here. So with denoising strength, this can actually affect the way the image actually generates. So by default, you can see it's on a value of 0.75. But I want to show you this visually. So this would be our original image. On 0.75, I feel like we get the best results because it's still retaining the composition, adjusting and transferring over the pose, but still applying that Lora style. Now you can maybe try that on 0.7 as well and see what you end up getting. You can see once I start going to 0.5, it makes it way too similar to the original image, and I'm not even getting any of the Lora effect on here. And if I go all the way to 1, the value is way too high and it completely ignores the input image. So just keep that in mind whenever you are adjusting this value over here, which in my opinion is the most important. But 0.75 should work perfectly fine. So there is another slide over here which is CFG scale. You don't have to adjust this at all, leave that on 3.5. The steps, this determines the overall image quality. So the higher this value is, the longer it's going to take to generate. But on 28, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to adjust this value at all. Now we've got randomized seed and a seed number. This means every time we generate an image, it's always going to generate something different. If you want an image to stay the same, like let's say you've got an image that you like, you can deselect randomized seed and it's going to lock in that number. So when you click on generate again, it should generate something that looks very similar to that since it's using the same seed. In my case, I just leave randomized seed on. And then we've got Lora scale over here. This you also don't have to adjust. I leave that on 0.95. That seems to be a good value for basically all of these Loras that I've tried using. But some Loras, you'll see when you browsing in the repository, like in this section, sometimes the authors might describe what value works best for their Lora. They might say it works better on a value of 1 or 1.5, etc. So you might have to input that value over here. But the Lora scale on 0.95, that's perfectly fine. Leave it on that and you should be good to go right now. So you've got a Lora, you've got an image that you can use as reference, and you can click on generate and see how it transfers over that Lora style onto your reference image. So there we go. Here is the image that got generated. So remember, it used this as reference, and then I selected a Lora so that that style gets transferred over onto that image. So I've got this JoJo style that's been transferred on here, and I think this looks absolutely amazing. So you can see just how powerful Loras are. So another tip, if you want to download your image, you can obviously click on this icon and it's going to save it in a WebP format. I honestly don't like this format, so an alternative over here to actually save this as JPEG or PNG is to download this Google Chrome extension. Now I'm assuming you are using Google Chrome. The link is in the description to this extension. It's called Save Images Type. So install this extension. Once it's installed in your browser, you'll be able to right click on this image and then you can save image as type. You can see over here you can save it as JPEG or PNG. So that just makes your life a lot easier so that you're not just reliant on the WebP format. So as a last tip, and this only applies to people who are generating images locally using their own hardware and Flux, you guys can also download these Loras and run it on your own system. So for instance, if I went to the Flux Lora list over here, all right, and then I find a Lora that I like, I'm just going to choose this one over here, this illustration. All right, all you have to do is go to File and Versions, and then here's the Lora over here. So you just download this file, and in my case, I'm using Forge with Flux. So whatever you're using, if it's Comfy UI or Forge, just find your models folder and then find the Lora folder and drag and drop this .safetensors file in here, and you'll actually be able to generate images locally on your own machine using these amazing Loras. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this tutorial. So go ahead, play around with some of these Loras. You can see just how many have actually been created by the community, and it continues to grow. There's tutorials on YouTube where you can even learn how to create your own Loras, but this is super powerful, especially if you want an image in a specific style. So go ahead and have some fun. So you guys are super awesome. Stay tuned for some more videos and tutorials, and goodbye.